Stop what you're doing right now, because this mistake could be the reason you're not getting new clients. Let's find out if it is. Welcome back to the Storm Fitness Academy podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going through the biggest mistake that PTs and coaches make that prevents them from getting new clients. Okay, let's not mess around. Let's just get straight into it. The number one mistake you are making right now is you are selling PT sessions. That's right, you're selling PT sessions. Now, you probably listened to that a bit confused, thinking, well, isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing, John? I'm a PT, I sell PT sessions. Well, your PT sessions are part of your product, but that's not what you're selling. You're not selling hours of PT. Nobody dreams of PT sessions. Nobody thinks that their life is going to change for the better if I just have PT sessions. Now, you might still be confused. You might still be thinking, what is he talking about? What I'm saying is PT sessions are just a tool or a method or something that you get from your toolkit to help your clients get what? Results. They want results. And those results are going to be different things to different people, aren't they? So everybody wants something slightly different. PT sessions are just hours of your time. What you are selling is results. You're selling the transformation. You're selling the solution to their problem. You're selling the gain. So here's the problem with selling PT sessions and not selling the results. You are just going to be competing on price. There's going to be no emotion involved whatsoever. Somebody's contacted you. They've said, hey, I would like to buy some PT sessions. How much are your PT sessions? You see the problem here. They know nothing about you. They know nothing about why you can specifically help them. And look, let's be honest, they might be the wrong client for you and you might be the wrong coach or trainer for them. So just telling them what your prices are, not only is it potentially going to put off clients if the price isn't the cheapest one out there, and that's what they're doing, they're looking for the cheapest PT, but also it could be that you're about to take somebody on that isn't right for either of you. So you're not a good fit for one another. So you can't just give someone their prices and let them make a decision based on that. And then what also happens is you fall into the trap of going, I've given my prices a few times now to different inquiries and nobody's purchasing. So I think my prices are too high. So I need to start decreasing my prices. So what ends up happening is you just get involved in this pricing war between all the other fitness professionals out there. Prices get lower and lower and lower, which means that PTs start to lower and lower the quality of what they're doing because they get resentful because they're doing cheap work. So my advice is you sell outcomes, not sessions. You sell results, not sessions. So forget this PT session thing and giving someone prices for that. So let's go back to the toolkit. So the toolkit of tools that you have at your disposal as a PT or a coach that you are using to help your clients get their results. Now, when you get a client, you actually have to go away and you have to put the program together. So you've got to write the program. So just writing the program is going to be part of this package. You then have to look at their interview form. So the information they fill out, you're going to have to look at that and you're going to have to get to know the client from looking at that form, work out what their goals, what their preferences, is there any barriers? So a lot of that's going to take some time, just kind of deciphering that and thinking, right, what's going to be the best approach for this client? You're then going to maybe put together some nutritional strategy. So give them some advice and some tips on where to go next. If you get really into the weeds of it, you might start setting calorie goals, macronutrient goals, looking at some areas where they need to develop their nutritional habits and putting that stuff in. So you've got the writing of the program, you've got the nutritional program. You might also have in there some additional things that you want them to do from home in between sessions. So you've got that in there. So there's a lot of stuff that's contributing towards building the overall package. So you're not selling PT sessions, you're selling a program or a package. And it just so happens within that are some PT sessions. If you're doing the, face-to-face PT, it might be an online program where you're certainly not selling PT sessions if that's the mode of delivery that you're doing. Now, have a think as well, because there's going to be some other things that are within that program that maybe are less sort of tangible. And what I mean by that is accountability. Now, in the past, I have been asked by inquiries, what's stopping me from just going online, downloading a generic program and just following that and getting the results that you're selling me? And I have two answers to that. First of all, I would be saying, well, that program, like you said, is a generic program. It's not been written for you. It's not personalized to your goals, your time availability, your ability, your preferences. So the likelihood of you getting the results that you want and you being able to stick to it are very, very slim. But secondly, I'd be turning it back to them and saying, I don't know, why don't you? And it might be when you do a bit of digging, they turn around and say, well, actually, yeah, I have done that before. I've downloaded a program. And how did that go? Well, it was all right for a bit, but then I just sort of gave up, really. And there we have it. The answer to that question is accountability. So accountability, although not necessarily like a tangible thing that you're selling, is probably the most important thing you're selling, really. Because let's be honest, we can just go out there and probably find a program that's going to be all right, pretty good, a generic program that's going to tick a lot of boxes for us. It's not personalized, but it'll probably do a good enough job. But we don't follow them, do we? We don't follow them because we're doing it just for us. And sometimes we need a higher power to answer to. And that higher power is your PT or your coach. It's doing it for somebody else. And that accountability of not wanting to let down your coach or your trainer, and I suppose the confidence in knowing that what you're doing is actually correct. You're being overseen by a professional that has had training in this. They've got the right certifications. They've got experience working with people like yourself in the past. And it's that peace of mind, isn't it? Knowing that I'm not just wasting my time here. At the least, you're not going to injure yourself because this is a program that has been written specifically for me. Position yourself as the expert. What do I mean by that? Well, you can't just work with everyone. I mean, you probably could, as in you're probably capable of working with a broad range of clients. But is that an optimal way to work? Is that optimal for the clients? No. You've got to get very, very good at working with a very, very specific target audience. Talk about this a lot. And when you do that, when you're speaking to that person on the phone or face-to-face or over Zoom, however you decide to do it, then you'll be able to identify what it is they are struggling with. And you'll be very familiar with that because that is the type of client you work with all the time. You really understand them. And the sort of language you're using will really resonate with them. They'll be listening to that going, wow, this guy knows me so well. Really understands where I'm coming from. And then when you talk about the results that you've helped other people achieve and you've showcased that, whether it's with your photos, testimonies, video reviews, case studies, they're going, oh, wow, that's actually very similar to me. That is the same issues that I was struggling with, and that is the same results I absolutely want. So you go from selling sessions at 40 to 50 pound an hour, whatever it is you charge, to selling a transformation, to selling a life that somebody dreams of, an improvement in their conditions right now. So where they are right now, you're going to help them get to where they want to be. It's not just sessions that you're selling. You don't need fancy sales scripts. You just need to let them talk. The more they talk, the more they buy. Yeah, this is something I struggled with in the early days, and I still struggle with now. And what I mean is, to really understand somebody, you just got to let them talk, spill their guts, pour their heart out, and listen. And look at the body language, if you're face-to-face, of course. And really get to understand this person and what their needs are. Try not to keep jumping in. So when you fly in as a personal trainer with all the results you can get straight away, you're jumping in and you're talking about things that they might not necessarily really care about. Now, everyone's different. Some people are going to really be interested in your community, being part of your fitness community, because, that's something that's missing in their life. You might want to talk about that a bit more. Somebody might just, not have any interest in being part of the fitness community, and you're talking about that. And it might be that it's really about the results, so you can just get straight to the before and after photos. So let your clients talk, understand them, what their struggles are, what are the specific things that they want to achieve, and spend your time talking about that. Discounts scream desperation. Value screams confidence. So you don't want to discount, you want to add value. Now, I did break my own rules on this many years ago. I remember doing a promotional campaign where I heavily discounted some products and learned the hard way, because what happens is you attract people that purely are going for the cheapest. And this isn't, I don't want to stereotype anyone out there who looks for the cheapest services. However, my experience, and this is talked about a lot in business, is those individuals do expect a lot more for their money. And it means that you end up working harder for a lot less money. And those people at the end typically are less satisfied customers, which is very strange. I never really understood that. But that's been my experience. It's been the experience of other fitness professionals that I talk to. So when you heavily discount something, that individual actually does expect even more for that heavily discount service, and they tend to be less satisfied at the end. I have a friend who works in branding and he's doing very well. And he said to me that the more somebody pays for something, the more pleasure and enjoyment they get from it. Now, I read about a study that was done where people were doing blind taste tests. And what they found was there's no correlation between the price of a wine and the enjoyment of it, which basically means more expensive wine doesn't provide any more enjoyment than less expensive wine. Now, wine connoisseurs are going to listen to this going, what? That's absolute nonsense. What's he talking about? That's blind taste testing. When you tell somebody how much the bottle of wine costs, that all completely changes. So if you have a row of drinks in front and you say, this is a £10 bottle, this is a 15, this is a 20, this is a 100, and that data is analyzed, there's a strong correlation between the enjoyment of the wine and the price of it. So it's about perceived value. If something is more expensive, we tend to value it more. It's one of the reasons why I say to you guys, by all means, write programs for friends to get the practice of writing programs and train them to get the practice training them. But once you're operating a business, you're actually going to get better results from your clients, friends, family members, if they pay for the service. Now, I probably wouldn't mix business with pleasure, to be fair, and I probably just wouldn't train them at all. Or if you do just want to train them and, feel like you're being a good friend, just know that they're less likely to get the results and adhere to it and value it because it's free. Now, I'm going to give you a really good example on this. So a little while back, I was doing some online training programs. So I sold a series of 12-week programs. And one of the people that contacted me was a friend of mine, quite a good friend. And I know he doesn't have a lot of money. And I thought, how can I take, a lump of money off this guy? He's got wife, children. I was just very uncomfortable doing it. So I really wanted to help him out. But I thought, if it's free, he's not going to value it. He's less likely to follow through with it. So I said to him, I tell you what, I will take the money from you. When you get the results at the end, I'll give you the entire amount back. And he said, oh, that's great. Thank you. Week 1, I haven't started the program, haven't really done it yet. Week 2, got like 1 session in. Week 3, I'm really struggling to fit this in. Week 4, would you like me to give you your money back? Yes, please. Thank you very much. So the problem was, even with that, I thought I was creating this massive incentive for him to be able to adhere to this program, because not only is he going to get these great results, he's going to get this lump of money back at the end. But I think deep down, he always knew that I was never going to take that money off him. And so as soon as I said to him, do you want the money back? Without hesitation, yes, please. And that was the end of that. So you see why when you're offering cheap services, you just don't get the adherence to the program. And I'm not just talking about the training program, the nutritional program, the mental side of things, the whole shebang. You just don't get that dedication because it's more disposable. It's cheap. It's, just throw it away. Don't ghost your leads. Now, what I mean by that is once you've had a chat with your customers, some of them just want to go away and process everything, talk to their husband, talk to their wife, talk to their family. And they're not necessarily going to, sign on the dotted line there and then, which is fine. But people do need to be called to action. So what I mean by that is I can see something that I know is going to improve my life. And for whatever reason, I just put it on the back burner. And when somebody calls me to action and says, look, we had a lovely chat yesterday. You told me you really want this. You said there aren't any barriers to you going ahead with this. So why don't you jump on the program? Let's do this. And then you're like, okay, let's do it. Sometimes you just need someone to call you to action. So you have to follow up your leads and inquiries. So if you've had a conversation with them, give them a follow-up call, give them a follow-up message, a follow-up email. And if you don't hear from them, give it a few days and follow up again, because we're busy people. We forget to get back to people. And actually, a lot of people, they rely on you chasing them so much that they won't even make a mental note to get back to you because they know you're probably going to chase them. So if you want more clients, less stress, then you've got to start selling results and not selling PT sessions. Stop selling your time, sell your results, and sell you. You've worked hard to get to where you are. When you've got your qualifications and you're out there and you're running your PT business, it's exciting. Be proud of that work and sell your worth. Right, time for a shameless plug. So, if you've been listening to this and you're thinking, I would love to become a personal trainer, but I am a little bit concerned that once I get my qualifications, I don't know what to do next. We don't have to worry because our advanced and our elite package include our Bulletproof business course. It's a standalone course. You can purchase that even if you're already qualified, but we include that into those two packages so that when you qualify, you know exactly what to do next. It's a great course. It covers everything. And it essentially teaches you how to build a business that gives you work-life balance, which is extremely important, something that I promote a lot. It also helps you build profits and it helps you create a 5-star service. So you can be really proud at what you're offering the world. So that's including our advanced and our elite package. So check those out. And as always, if you've enjoyed today's episode, do please like it, share it with anybody else that you think might be interested, and subscribe as well. Enjoy the rest of your day.